It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Why, hello, everybody. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. If you haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. Also, if you're watching us live and in living color, go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And also, throughout this video, hit the thumbs up button to let us know that you like it and love it and hopefully want more of it. Also, make sure you take us along that long car trip, or while you're sitting in traffic, or maybe taking a hike or pumping some iron in the gym. You can listen to us on your favorite podcast station on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or iHeartRadio. Just type in Dishin Days, follow us there, and give us a listen, because we sound just as good as we look. Also, make sure you buy our merch. That's right. We got some merchandise for you, like this. You can go and purchase a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a towel, a mug, anything that makes you say, hey, I'm a Dishin Days fan and a Days of Our Lives lover. So head on over to dishindays.threadless.com. That's dishindays.threadless.com to purchase your merchandise today. Also, make sure you show some love to our former co-host and my chocolate twin, Mr. James Big Lots Jr., who is doing some big things on his own digital network, JLJ Media, where he's serving up original audio dramas and also diving into General Hospital, Young and the Restless, and Bold and the Beautiful. For your full soap fix, make sure you head over to JLJ Media on YouTube, because James Lott Jr. is the only person that I know old enough to remember when it first rained on this earth. You know what I love about that is that now people go to like his Instagram or YouTube and tell him what I said about him. Someone last week said, James, did you know that Tony said that you're so old that you kept count on Noah's Ark? And I was like, yeah, I said it. I said it. Well, gang. What did we think of this week's episodes of Days of Our Lives?
Listen, it was on.
Well, you know what? That's shout out to my mother, who has once again stumbled in and able to chat. It's always a good day when Mama Moore is in the house.
Yes.
What'd she think of Days? Maybe she had more opinions than we did.
Mom,
better opinions than we did.
Mom, let us know in the chat, what did you think of this week? Because we all came on and basically, and I think it's kind of a general consensus. This week, you know how we normally say it's an info week?
Mm-hmm.
I think this was a day in the life week where we just saw a day in the life of our favorite Salemites. What'd you guys think?
I kept up with it, but I can't say anything too engaging happened. Some stuff was a little, I don't know, I felt drawn out. It was just okay.
Yeah, there were a couple of things that when we get into that I thought were actually a little bit interesting, but nothing that like hooked us or like was really like a standout. I felt like this week. I don't know.
Dylan Matthews, it happened.
Well,
yeah, we're on the same page. I felt this week was so bad. I felt like I was watching someone do laundry, which is ironic because I'm usually doing laundry when I watch Days. And here's the thing. It takes me a long time because I'm looking at the screen and I'm trying to do stuff at the same time because that's just the way my mind works. But no, no, it was bad. Sorry.
Well, let's see what we can say about it, shall we? It is now time. Ooh, it looks so pretty. It's now time to start.
Dishin Days.
Dishin Days.
Yep, it's about as close as we gonna get. All right, set it and forget it. Let's go into our very first storyline of this day in the life week with Theresa and Truth or Dare.
I don't believe for a second that Alex has never played Truth or Dare before.
Right.
Alex seems like the person that would start a game of Truth or Dare.
Exactly. And always choose Dare.
Right.
Yep.
This was.
It was cute.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was cute.
I appreciate the conversation with Maggie, like appreciating that he wants to help Theresa, but needs to be doing it in the right way. And like thinking, dealing with an addict is not as easy as Alex probably thinks it is. It's like, and maybe going and getting some support himself might be a good idea. I kind of appreciated that conversation.
But then I don't like the snarkiness of Alex and how he...
Oh, well, no. Then he got snarky about like, he was a pompous ass, but that's Alex,
Right, but it's like,
okay, here we go.
No,
but
no.
At what point are we going to like let that go? Like this whole like Maggie still trying to be a part of Titan, him saying no, that push and pull. It's kind of like either you do something about it, like ASAP, or you just let it go and just live your life. Like,
no. But let's be fair to this situation, to that conversation, because yes, Alex needs to let it go, but I don't recognize Maggie in these scenes.
Yeah.
She was snarky right back to him and basically telling him that he's not good enough for Theresa, and that's mind-boggling and on so many different levels.
Yeah, she totally picked a fight with him.
Yes,
totally picked a fight with him and started that whole thing. Yeah,
and like
I know, I was
it was the execution of it. Like I can totally understand Maggie's intention behind that conversation, but her execution was snarky and frankly mean.
It was.
But why does she owe Alex? Why does she owe Alex nice? Like, I don't think he's really been.
It's not about owing. It's not about owing him anything.
Or not owing anything, but
it's about staying true to her character, and that's why I don't recognize Maggie in the scenes. She has every right to be snarky when it comes to the business side of it, but But it's like, and I'm also thinking of this as a sponsor thing. If you're someone's sponsor, you don't go behind the person's back to their significant others and say, you should be doing this, this, and this. That's not okay.
Well, the thing is that when the shoe was on the other foot and Maggie was being snarky and just unreasonable with Alex, it's like, back then, was there really a reason to be that way? Alex had a different approach to business, which I think was very more current and relatable, while Maggie had an old school way of doing it. But she was very much like, I'm in this seat, you do it my way or nothing at all. And when Alex even tried to do that, remember, and he realized he was losing that client, he switched so that he could hold on to that for Titan, and it still wasn't enough. But now I feel like Alex is now trying to give it back to Maggie the way that she gave it to him. But then now Maggie is still kind of being that snarky, and so it's just like we're not getting anywhere.
Exactly.
At this point, it's like Alex is the CEO. This is how Victor wanted it, and so Maggie, like you're just gonna have to sit back and just maybe deal with the fact that you aren't with the company, or maybe the Maggie that we know could be able to have a reasonable conversation with Alex to where, you know, it's like, hey, listen, I know we all started off on the wrong foot. I do want to be a part of this company because this is my late husband's legacy and I want to be a part of it. And I feel like they could have figured out a way to do it. But that whole push and pull, I was like, y'all go to the bistro, go to the flower cart. Just let's not do this.
And this is why the subtitle for this entire week's content is conversations that didn't need to be had.
Yeah.
Well,
because they went nowhere.
Yeah. I think it ended fine. I just wish it started that way. I mean, her point was, I think you need some support too to deal with someone like this. And her approach, I mean, I don't know. Her whole thing was just like, you need to break up with her or something. It was just weird. Like,
I would argue
that's what she should have led with, or that's what she should have said to him straight away.
It's just, oh God. I mean, I would argue that Alex, yes, he was snarky on the business side of things, but he took what Maggie said to heart and then did what you're supposed to do when you feel like the conversation is going the wrong way. Quickly end it and move on.
Right. And then the whole thing of like her calling the board members to like, I'm like, Maggie, what do you, okay, picture it. Type. Maggie, where are you working? What are we doing? Are we consulting? Are we starting a line of figurines? Like, are we gonna do lemon bars for sweet bits? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? What do you want to do?
It's a weird thing for her to be holding. I guess it's a Victor thing. I don't know. They don't really give us insight into what she has, into what her motivation is. Because again, this is not her business. Maggie was never into the captain of industry stuff. This is all stuff that's happened in the last couple of years. Before that, Maggie ran restaurants for a duration of almost 30 something years on the show. This has never been her wheelhouse.
The other thing is like it came kind of like they brought it back. You know what I mean? Like they dropped Maggie as part, like it almost like they took her away from it. Now they're putting her back in, which I was like, oh, they're bringing this back. Okay. Right.
And it's like, do we really need it brought back? Do we? We don't. Anywho's it. I want to go back to, we were having a conversation and I forgot to do this. I'll do it this week because I still think it's a discussion. Some were on the side of Theresa is over Brady, vice versa. Some were, no, they're completely over it. And then this week, we get this whole conversation again of, we could have been like the Marlena and John of Salem.
We could have been the next Marlena and John. I was like,
in what universe?
Like, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I stand with the fact that Theresa still has a thing for Brady.
Well, Brady this week, like Brady
is questioning it because we'll get to these folks later, but when you ain't had a touch in a while, it's very easy to go back. So I think this week we kind of had Brady, even though he told Alex, oh no, listen, no, Teresa's just the mother of my child.
Yeah,
I love my impressions. There was a moment where I think he was just kind of like, could I get back with her?
This is like classic Brady, though. Whenever he doesn't have a woman, it's like the closest person available. Like up till this point, he hasn't even a hint of thinking about Theresa at all. Now,
Right.
all of a sudden, like he's like stirring up things. I don't know.
It's another character shift where
Yeah.
you know, it's just like, you know, Maggie wanting to go back to Titan out of nowhere. Now out of nowhere, oh, Brady still might have a thing for Theresa. Okay, like.
And see,
Sure.
I think it would have made sense if it was the other way around, where if he had a relapse and she helped him, then I can understand him like stirring up emotions and thinking like, oh, like she's, you know, this is the person I fell in love with at one point and married or whatever. But yeah, for her to be going through this and then for him to like come to this realization, yeah, nothing's changed with her. She's still the exact same person that you've not despised, but you've kept at arm's length all these years.
Well, I always thought that Brady exaggerated a lot of Theresa. Not Theresa in the beginning, but the Theresa that they later fell in love. They moved in together. They had that whole, you know, unofficial wedding ceremony, just the two of them. Like he it seems like he likes to conveniently forget and call them good times. I'm like, you were living with this woman. You were raising your child together. That was not a small thing. Those weren't just like good times.
Yeah.
So he likes to minimize their how they cared for each other a lot. But yeah, it was just like, once again, conversations that go nowhere.
I somehow thought the fireplace poker was going to come up. I don't know why that. With John being nice to her, something popped in my head. I was like, didn't she like beat him with a fireplace poker?
Yes, she sure did.
Yeah.
She popped him over the head with one.
I wish that when Brady was like, Teresa's coming over, sorry, we have to sign some things, that as soon as the door opened and John saw that it was Theresa, he went,
right.
You don't have a fireplace poker, do you? But I think right now Marlena and John, being the type of people that they are, it's more so concern for the mother of their grandchild. You know, she's going through a relapse, you know, and everything. And they're trying to they tried to not show that they knew, but obviously showed that they knew. But that's just, you know, that's the type of people John and Marlena are. They care, you know, and so they're going to, because they know that Brady and Theresa and their family are going through a very tough time. You know, there's Tate, there's Rachel, you know, there's now Theresa. You know, they also have to kind of look out for Brady in a sense too, because what if all this stuff that's happening may cause Brady to relapse and go to like drinking or something? So, you know, they're being, you know, cautious and careful as they should, and being nice, you know, suitable people who will open their home to even the trashiest of trashiest people.
Unless you're Sloan.
Well, Sloan did that to herself. She did, and luckily she did that in her own house. You, Dr. Marlena Evans Black Robichelle, you're just so. Thank you. I'll be accepting the Daytime Emmy for podcast impressions in 2024. Let's see. I mean, that's pretty much from what I can remember. It's pretty much what happened.
What's the gist of that?
Line.
It's,
you know, it's just
they sang "Row, row, row your boat"
loudly. First of all, did y'all notice that this was just the week of like kid songs? Because there was "Row, row, row your boat," and then what did Ava and Stefan sing together?
Oh, I don't remember.
They sung something too, and I was like,
oh God, I don't remember.
No, what the kid songs is going on?
Yeah.
Days of Our Lives, Kids Bop edition.
I know, I was just gonna say Kids Bop.
Or something else bopping this week.
Oh gosh.
What did you guys think about the before we get out, I guess we can touch on this a little bit more. The Alex and Brady conversation. Was it necessary?
No.
No,
No.
I don't even remember most of it.
It was just
No.
about him being jealous, and then that triggered Brady's feelings afterward, where he started questioning if he did like Theresa or.
London Bridge, that's it.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I don't see that.
Oh, for the first time, I feel like in Dishin Days history, maybe not, I see that there's a question for the panel.
Where is it? Right here.
There it is.
Uh-huh.
From Mysterio, I have a question for the panel. When I look at the other three soaps as compared to Days, it feels like all the characters are engaged with story. The soaps have hierarchy within their soap world. I just turned into Teo and was like, is there a question in there somewhere?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess so. Mysterio, what is the question in comparison to? I mean, I only watch Days.
Yeah.
Araceli, I know
This
you
feels like
watch.
would be a question for me. I think the question is, does it feel like Days in comparison to the other soaps gives equal amount of story time to all the characters, whereas other soaps might have a hierarchy, where like they a lot more stories to certain characters. Okay, one, that's true in any soap. Contract characters are automatically going to have more stories than recurring players, so that's one. I would say it depends on the size of the cast. Days, and I think General Hospital has the most cast members, and then second is Days. And I mean, as far as, I mean, depending on looking at our bullet points, what we have every week, I would say that Days does a good job of allotting stories to everyone. The trick is, and we've talked about this, is how do you interweave the stories well? Like when they did the Devil storyline, we were all very impressed with that because they managed to have that turn into like a huge umbrella storyline. And it didn't have to be that way. It wasn't necessarily needed to work, but the way that they did it was very smart. And this week, there are a bunch of characters on for absolutely no reason.
On Days?
Yes. Equal amount of nothingness was given to every character. So doesn't always work. So screen time does not, and storyline does not always equal to good television. And the end of my spiel.
Annette Thompson says, sometimes it feels like Days doesn't wrap up a story before moving on to the next major story. I just saw something. Robbie Saunders said something. Where was it? Oh, I have the answer. Days is the only soap in the physical, spiritual realm where all other soaps just riches, wealth, physical world. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've never. Michael Mattis, Justin, do y'all watch or have ever watched any other soap besides Days?
Oh yeah, none that are
I
currently on the air. Yeah,
I don't currently watch, but I used to watch Y&R pretty religiously.
I used to watch Passions. I used to watch Another World. I watched Jada for a few years.
Passions.
Yeah.
Y&R always in the past, at least, I don't know how it is currently. Y&R did a good job of like rotating who was kind of front and center on the canvas, like. And they also did a good job of like, you were like, someone was a villain, but then they like, I don't know. The writing on Y&R back when I watched was always really, I don't know. I felt like it was really solid in terms of like rotating characters in and out of being like front burner, back burner. It wasn't always, Victor was kind of always involved in it. Victor Newman was
Newman?
It was always involved in things, but
he 80 years old and still is.
Mm-hmm.
Still is.
I can honestly say I have only watched Days. I have seen the scenes that I was in other soaps, but that's it. You know, just to see me in the background or walking by.
Yeah. We cannot. We have no control, and I will repeat this for some people who think that we have magical powers. We have no control over the storylines on Days. We have no.
Who thinks we do?
I don't. There have been. We've gotten comments sometimes, like people think that because we're friendly with some of the actors and we have a good rapport with some of the people on the show that we somehow have magical powers to dictate what happens. We do not.
If we
We
did,
have
don't
very
y'all
little-
think that Terrence would be there
Yes,
permanently?
we have a limited amount of inside knowledge. The cast is directed because they filmed so far in advance. The cast is directed to keep their mouths shut on big stuff coming ahead. We speculate here. We speculate and we hope and we support.
And that'll be the last time we take a question from you.
No, but that's
In February 4th, 2024, at 3:27 p.m. Pacific Standard Time was the last time the show Dishin Days took any more questions from our chat.
I'm okay with it. No, I'm okay with it. You know why? Because that's the most interested that's the most interesting thing that I've said since we've gotten on the air. And that it will be the most interesting thing I say today.
Well, you said it, not us. Somebody said it's now February 11th. So, John Del Rey, y'all are so shady. Listen,
Hey, if I was really that shady, I would be telling you
This-
which Twitter campaigns I'm currently like promoting. And
if you were really that shady, this would be last week all over again.
don't worry, guys, I only have lemonade today.
That we know of now. And then all of a sudden, in about 5 minutes, we realize name lemonade. Let's move on to our next storyline, which is
Or no, wait, I don't want to talk about this.
I didn't know that was an
Stephanie.
option.
Here we go again. Freaking be alone, girl. Be alone. Just like get some dick on the side or whatever. But like, oh my god. I was just like,
Didn't he say he didn't want to talk about it, but he sure enough got a whole lot to say?
I could literally give you a bullet point list for
Oh no,
how
we don't
to
want that.
do self-love on Valentine's Day.
Oh.
Pampering and this and that.
It's not
other thing.
Valentine's
Be
Day.
single. But I notice an uptick when people see that date marked on the calendar. They're all of a sudden they start getting big dick energy, and they're like, I need to find some quick.
that's
Araceli
fine.
Aviles
I'm not against her
language.
finding some dick, but not Everett. Like,
Y'all,
I'm telling
it
you,
could
it's
have
the
been
date.
okay. Before I say anything, Justin,
Yes. Well, what happened? She slept with? Are they back together now? I was confused about what that meant.
they slept together on Friday. No. Okay, so Monday they literally. He was just like, "I just want to sleep next to you." It was the most awkward scene of them
I
getting
know.
into
Did
bed,
you
like
see the
fully
get into the
clothed.
bed? I know.
I was like, "What?
This
This is
is
so
very
bizarre." But okay.
what would have helped that?
And then by Friday, she was like, "Give me the dick."
Well, listen, what would have helped that cuddle scene was that they had just got under the covers, because I think what had happened was Abigail, who played Stephanie, realized they want me to lay in this bed, and I got on a dress.
Yeah. Yep.
So now I got to maneuver myself in this dress
Yeah.
and make sure it don't come up. So I got to keep tugging it down. But then luckily Blake, who plays Everett, swooped his big knees up under to kind of go, gotcha, girl. And then she's like, oh, thank you. And they were able to just kind of, cuddle.
Yeah.
But I was just like, y'all ain't got on no pajamas. Y'all didn't get ready for bed. Y'all just gonna lay in bed with your day clothes on. I turned into a mom. But I feel like it's one of those things where depending on how much they cared about each other, which granted, I think they cared about each other a lot. And all of a sudden, this man disappears, right? Which I'm sure was a hard hit to Stephanie. But then to have him resurface, and I'm sure she kind of went through that thing of like, forget him.
Yeah.
That's with me. Where you been with your little old coma? You was in a coma, But I think you kind of, as a person, kind of fall back into what you had, what you were, especially when you haven't maybe really sorted out the feelings. Because some people can be like, nope. Where I think Stephanie was more like, the feelings are kind of still there, and he's saying, I came here for you because out of the coma, like my first thought was you, and and all of a sudden, and you're feeling some kind of way because it's February and it's almost Valentine's Day, and this is probably the most comfortable person you're with, and then it's just kind of like, all right, cool, we can cuddle. But then you cuddling and you starting to remember how it feels. So then by Friday, when he's like, oh, when we were cuddling, all the thoughts of Seattle just came back. And she was like, me too. And then it was like, we gonna do this. She's gonna get hurt all over again. That sucks. You right, mama.
I thought it was awkward when she was questioning why no one looked for him, but she didn't look for him either, which I thought was weird.
I know, I was like, but wait, did you didn't look for him either?
Yeah, I was like, you didn't look for him either. You just assumed this guy you were in love with like ghosted you. I don't know. It was a very awkward conversation. I was waiting for him to be like, I was waiting for her to say like, or I did this, I did that, I tried to find you, and she didn't say anything.
No, Stephanie doesn't need to be hurt. Stephanie being hurt does nothing. She's just going to repeat the same pattern over and over and over again. She's repeating.
I didn't think that I could be less interested in this story than I already was. But that sure did it. Like you didn't even give me a kernel. Like there was nothing sexy about them in bed together. The high schoolers cuddle. I'm sorry, grown ass people wear pajamas or a t-shirt or something. No. And now we're supposed to believe that because of Everett's accident, now we're being led to believe that somehow he magically forgot that he was married. Is that where this is going?
I think there is so much more to this story. And
they are giving us zero. We need something.
It's very... Okay, here's the thing. Everybody, for this storyline, you are going to need your very own pull down board. Because I think as you start kind of putting the evidence there, you realize there are holes. And I think even Everett has holes.
Oh my gosh.
And I think that at some point, it's all going to start streamlining and coming together.
I also saw it as a bit manipulative. Like he sees Jada, and then all of a sudden he's calling Stephanie over to the hotel to confess, and it was like he was trying to like trap her so that when the truth comes out, she has like conflicting feelings, I guess.
And then it went sideways again. Like it wasn't like I said last week, I want something. I want answers. And give me anything. Not only did we not get answers, we got a whole lot more junk.
I think it's coming. I think also what's making everything kind of like, wait, what? Why is this taking so long? All that. We have to go back into the real world and realize the strike happened. That, even though we're very grateful that the show kept going, I think we're also just kind of like, before the strike, could somebody had been given an outline as to like what to do with the show and the stories and the storyline and everything,
And
so
to
that way
add
it could have
on
been
to
written
that,
that way.
to add on to that, how invested are we supposed to get in what's happening now, knowing that when the strike
That things
ended
might
and the
change.
writers came back,
Like there was a
someone came back and looked at shit and was like, nope.
like they were like,
And
strike's over, everyone back, and they were like, all right, let's see.
they were
Let's
like,
see
nope,
what's been-
Leo's back on every day now. So now they sprinkle him in, small doses, which with Leo, that's fine for me. Yeah.
Not even Leo can make this entertaining. That's how boring that is. And Leo has a word, has a phrase for everything, and not
Sure
even
as
he
shit
could
does.
make this
A lot of words.
And not even he could make me interested in this.
Well,
Hard as he tried.
he's keeping me interested in his storyline, so this has some interest too. It's just taking it's just taking longer to get to where we need to get to.
We need some
We need
back-
more seeds. We need more seeds, but we don't have any right now.
Not all the seeds, just like, it can be like a slow burn, but like give us some
They ran
stuff
out
while it burns,
The seed store is closed. It too was on strike. It was not an essential thing. So, Jack and his beanstalk, he had to come on down, and they said we ain't got it. I don't know. But I will say this. Stephanie, the character, is a strong, independent, business savvy woman. And I think to watch her go from Alex to Chad, a dash of Harris to Everett, in a way that just makes it seem like, oh,
it kind of takes the independent out of your description. If she's dependent, the most favorable thing she did in my eyes was, we're assuming that she and Harris actually did the deed, right?
No, it was just a kiss, because
it was just a kiss.
Yeah,
because regardless, that's like, in my eyes, the most favorable thing she's done. I'm like, yeah, get a little side dick. You know what I mean? You don't need like it's just yeah.
But Debbie Bright says, Tony, she looks desperate. I don't know if it's desperate. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to describe. It's not okay. It's not in a wait, Dylan Matthews says Stephanie is a strong, independent, business savvy woman who just happens to like. Here's the thing. Okay, take Sloan in the very beginning when we first met her, right? Mm-hmm. She seemed like a very in control woman, where she's like, this is just what I want and what I need, and then I'm gonna go back to doing what I do, right? Mm-hmm. I think if Stephanie was more like that, where she seemed very, very much like in control of the situation instead of being wooed into the situation.
Yeah,
I think it would come across a little differently. I don't know. I kind of dislike that they just have her kind of floating. Mm-hmm. But I mean, what?
No.
I mean, I will forever be team Stephanie and Alex.
Yeah.
I can't get behind any of this.
I'm
Nothing.
behind team Stephanie and Alex because I feel like it's yin and yang. It's opposites attract. It's what each other needs from each other to be better. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Meh.
Sure.
So that's just me. Anywho, well, we'll see how it progresses. I hope I hope
Can't wait.
everyone got what they needed. I think also people are put off because everyone's still looking at Everett like you look crazy. I don't know. But that would be more of a turn off, not a turn on. It's like something ain't right with you. All right. Well, let's move on. A spectator exclusive. Dumb. First of all, I thought to myself, Harris couldn't tell Rafe where Lucas was. However, Lucas has chosen to tell Chad, who brought Everett. Didn't nobody tell Chad to bring Everett? But now they know where Lucas is at, and Lucas thinks that by talking to the newspaper to expose Clyde, that is going to help the situation.
Also, what does he know?
That Lucas talked too much. You saw what happened when you talked to the lunch lady, the guard, and everybody else. You got your ass whooped. Now you talking to the newspaper who gonna talk to everybody else in Salem, and you think you supposed to be? If I was Harris, I'd be like, bro, you got to get out of my house.
I would like whoever. I know this is the ghostwriting period. We didn't have writers for this, but I would like whoever did this to take this as a lesson that you need to watch at least one episode of Narcos, just one, just to, know like a smidge of what you're talking about.
What are you talking about?
Just like because this whole drug storyline is silly.
Yeah.
Nothing fits. Nothing.
We're still trying to figure out how this man has all this power and control from a jail cell. At least when Stefano did it, he was like probably held up in like a fabulous chateau in Paris. This man from Willabunk Coochie, Georgia,
Poplar Bluff, the Ozarks,
has a whole city of people. Joanne Howe said Lucas has never been smart. Bless his heart. I don't think we can get past that. And then everything else just trickles. How you got Ava involved, how you got Stefan involved, how you got people knowing that it's you and still can't, like, what do they? You can't send him to jail. He already there.
Also, why is he hiding out above the Brady pub, which is the first place anyone who knows anything about Lucas would look for him? Like, it was like
it's where his mama lives.
Yeah,
like,
yes,
where
exactly.
Kate is.
The place, I know. The place where he used to live before he went to prison. Like, what? Oh, God, none of this makes any sense. And also, what does he know? He doesn't know anything, right? Wasn't that the whole?
He knows nothing.
That's it. Yeah. So what was he gonna tell?
Yes,
like,
I know.
Everyone in the story
thing. Like,
knows
I was watching it. I was like, this makes zero sense to me. I'll try to go with it. And then the other thing I didn't understand. So Harris comes in and starts telling them about a drug bust, and he's like, okay, if you don't run the Lucas story, I'll give you the exclusive on the drug bust. I'm like, so wait, they're gonna write a story about a drug bust that's going to happen?
No, it already happened.
Oh, it already. Oh, because the two cops that they were having lunch with, which I'm sure isn't random. I'm sure one of those two or both of them are going to play a part in this later. That's why they introduced them this week.
Yeah.
Right.
Shout
out to them. You better be a part of a story arc. That's beautiful.
Get free lunch.
Right. But I was also like, y'all ain't got no other places. Y'all can you imagine if they had went to the bistro? So yeah. So they, because they came back and they were dead man walking, as my mom just said. They came back celebrating the drug bust, and that they were able to like capture like a lot of the drugs and everything like that. To which they told those two people to put it in the thing. But I'm like, first of all, who counted all those pills? Secondly, okay, great. And then two of the people were apprehended, and they think they're zeroing in on Clyde. So right now, the Salem PD thinks that it's a win, but we don't know because Luke is out here about to tell everything instead of just sitting up in Harris's apartment doing his chair exercises and trying to stay alive.
I don't care.
Well, you gonna have to.
I don't. I this whole thing again. My original subtitle for today's show: things I didn't need to see because they led to nowhere. And like I again, you can have candid moments in a show. You can have info in a show. You can have lunch scenes in a show, but make them make sense. Make it about something.
It is about something.
No, it's about something, but it's where is it going? There's no information. There's no hints. There's shit. This is chit chat. All of this is all chit chat.
AAJR72 says, why would Chad and Everett go to tell Clyde about the drug raids? It makes no sense. Exactly. And I almost feel like if you feel like you have a leak in your department, at what point are you going to tell a lie and say that, Jane Doe has identified Clyde so that someone can go, Clyde, and then it's like, you're trapped.
See, I thought that's what Harris was doing with the breakfast thing. I was like, oh, he's on to that.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought, oh, he's onto these two cops. He's like luring that. Because I was like, why is they're randomly like having a breakfast celebration thing, a lunch thing? Like, okay. And I was like, oh, he must be onto them. And I felt like, I don't know, I feel like he not tipped what's the name off Roman, but I don't know. In his conversation with Roman, it just made me think like, oh, Harris is onto them. He's gonna say something, or he's gonna, like you said, Tony, like let something slip to see if it got back to Clyde. But I don't know. It didn't seem like that happened, but I don't know.
Here's what would have made more sense if they would have used Roman in this scene, not just as a storyteller, but as a guy to keep eyes. Yeah. That would have been a little more nuanced. That would have been a little more true to Roman as a character, given his history, given his current motives, and trying to protect Lucas. Instead, it was, oh, these are the guys we suspect. Oh, cool.
Help me trap them or something. Or, yeah, you come in and say this. And
all right, well, before we close out of this, So they Jada talked to Harris about when he allegedly tried to kiss Ava and got slapped, and tried to talk about, you know, what had happened. There's still something about that situation that's just like, like when she said it, I was like, I don't think that happened. Like, I can't imagine him not being able to separate his professional and personal, and he would try to kiss Ava at work.
Yeah, it doesn't ring true to me either.
And I think Michael Mattis, I think it was you that might have said something about it, like she confessed to him and then said, "I'm gonna slap you," just so it can seem like something else. And then he actually, and that's what happened. And I was like, that makes more sense.
I didn't say that, but that does.
Well,
like, I didn't.
yeah,
I thought it was some
Somebody
kind of
said
show.
that. Who said that?
That was me. Well, I was saying more that she was.
Well, that whole time when I said Michael Mattis, you said, "No, baby, that was me."
I was waiting for you to finish. It's like, where's he going with this? But no, I think that I think she was about to confess. We saw that, like, she was like about to say something, and I felt like that was her, like, let me get out of this situation, so let me slap him. That was her get out of jail free card, basically. Because remember, she got really loud.
Really say anything. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And then everyone pushed in, and it was like, I got to get out of here. He tried to kiss me. It was like, why would that offend you? You've been kissing this man for a while. Yeah. why would that be it?
Because she's kissing a new man. She's like Jodie Watley. I'm looking for a new love, baby. Or maybe that's Stephanie. I'm looking for a new love, baby. All right. Well, let's close the newspaper on this and head on over into our tidbits. But before we do, just a quick reminder. Make sure you follow us on all social media platforms, Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Hey, we're at the halfway point of our show. And if you hadn't hit that like button, which I can only see 6 people out of 147 have, then you ain't doing this right. Go click the like button, hit the subscribe button. That helps us out greatly. Also, make sure you listen to us on your favorite podcast station, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, or wherever podcast stations exist. Also, make sure you take a look at our merch, dishindays.threadless.com. Buy yourself something nice, even if it's for Valentine's Day. Why? Because if you can't love yourself, how in the hell you going to love somebody else? Can I get an amen? That was y'all cue to say amen.
I grew up in a church where you are supposed to say silent.
During what?
I say Catholic.
Like everything.
I grew up where if the preacher said amen, you just supposed to say amen. It's call and return, or call and response. That's what it's called. And y'all didn't respond after I called. Oh yeah, thank you, Michael Mattis. Make sure you also head on over and show some love to JLJ Media on YouTube. He got some stuff over there, and I promise you it's current. It's not that old stuff like he's used to, or the cave drawings that he helped his friend make back in the day. Thank you, Mom. I learned from the best. Thank you, Megan. I learned from you. All right. And thank you, Debbie. They all said amen. All right, let's head over into our amen, Debbie Bright. Let's head over to our
Nope, that's it.
Let's head over to our tidbits. Just when you couldn't get, you didn't think dates could get a little more ridiculous. We got drinks and Danielle Steele.
Okay. There was only one part of this that actually made sense.
What part is that?
That Ava and Stefan falling in bed together. That at least stays true to soap trope. People who hated each other falling into bed all the time. That at least somewhat rang true.
Yeah, because for some reason on soaps, everybody get in a fuss vent with each other, and then all of a sudden it's like, you looking good. Now, in real life, when you get in a fuss with somebody, it's like, don't be coming over here with that. But somehow in the soap world, it works. Because they had that whole phone conversation where they were just going back and forth. And then all of a sudden, after 5 bottles of wine, it was
And
like
shots.
And shots, they mixed.
and shots.
Ooh.
No wonder.
Ooh.
They were just like, hey,
How you doing?
as I sit here with my mustache and pink robe, and you there with your off-the-shoulder robe.
This was so small, but at one point, when Brandon shut up, when Brandon shoved Tamara up against the door, he almost dropped her. Did you guys notice that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I don't know if that was planned or not, but that still at least rings true to someone being completely wasted. So I appreciated it nonetheless.
KTG says Stefan and his 70s porn mustache rolling up at Ava's place, drunk and sweaty and horny.
It rings true. It's something.
Okay. Okay.
No, you please, by all means.
What was up with that nonsensical fight between Ava and Wendy?
That was another like
It's like,
I thought they were cool with each other.
Yeah,
And
like-
this made it seem like they're like, yeah. I was like, what is okay?
Do you think Ava?
Put it on the banner. Conversations that didn't need to be had.
Do you think that she's still upset that Wendy decided not to go to Hong Kong, which caused Trip stayed because of her, but then she stayed, and then maybe she's still mad. Like, I need y'all out of town.
No, it just didn't make sense. No.
But I mean, listen, kudos to Wendy because Wendy was like,
yeah,
hold up,
what are you talking
ma'am.
Ma'am.
Tell you something. I don't care who you are. I am Wendy Chin. Okay.
She did have the very best line that I've ever heard coming out of an argument. And I've never heard it used before, and I'm gonna use it in real life. She said, "And now I'm gonna go meditate." That's exactly what you should do.
She needed to after that conversation.
Yeah.
She was like, I don't even know why we're in a fuss bit. Like,
Yeah.
leave me be. Well, I also would like to know who decided to have Ava, was this a Friday night? Read a romance novel, then in her drunken state, narrate her own.
Did anyone think it was a fake out when the narration came in? I was like, wait, is this a fake? Is this her reading it?
No.
I didn't care.
Okay.
No.
No. At that point, I was like, she is going to make this like page 33 that she had ended with.
You
And
mean page 69?
page 34 plus 35.
Oh.
So, yeah, I was just because I literally remember that part, and I was just like, at that moment, I was like, I should take a picture of how my face looks looking at this, because I was on my phone, and then it happened, and I was just like, you gonna narrate your own story, girl? It would have been funny if she had said, as he slammed me up against the door, I nearly fell out of his arms.
The bitch almost dropped me.
And do you know, he almost dropped me. Well, it was bound to happen. They're both frustrated, and all they got is each other. Anywho. All right. Well, we'll see the aftermath of that. Did anyone else remember anything about that before I move on?
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh boy. Dining and dashing. The dinner with Maggie and Constantine and Xander and Sarah.
That I didn't need to see.
Again, it didn't need to happen.
But we got a good scene with Maggie. Finally, she did something right, kind of.
She said, "Then leave. Call yourself a car."
Call your.
I thought, well, first of all, kudos to Xander because let me tell you something, Constantine. If you can dish it, you better be able to take it. Because the second he was like, "Oh, with your reputation in Greece, and the Scottish are known for being, greedy," and then Xander was like, "Oh, what about men who take what's the word? Take advantage of widowed women."
Yeah.
And then I will not stand for this disrespect. I looked at him and said, "Neither will I."
Yeah.
You're in my house, dude.
You started with me. And
in my own home.
In front of my tree. That is a shout out to Mark.
After he had done the cooking.
You came in arms a swinging and have the nerve, the audacity, and the gall to insult this man. And the other thing is this: what I don't understand is, Maggie, at your age, don't nobody like this man. Nobody.
No.
And it has nothing to do with, like, no one, everyone's being so protective. Nobody likes this man.
No.
It's also different with Victor. Victor was very much, everybody knew about Victor. But I think everyone knew that Victor had a softer side of Sears. And who was bringing that out was Maggie. They saw that he was a better person because of who Maggie was. This man is just mean. And how you don't like, I felt like you finally saw it, but yet you still want to have sympathy. Like at some point, I would have looked at Sarah and Xander and said, "I'm gonna be right back. Come on, Constantine." I would have drove him to the airport.
Yep.
And watched him get. I would have actually called, like, somebody. Follow me. I'm taking him to the airport. I just need you to just drag him onto the flight. Pulled up to the airport, and two men just come in and just take them. Oh, that's right. They have a jet. She just pull up right to the even did a Maggie thing. "Constantine, I have a surprise for you because I feel so bad at the dinner with. Put this blindfold on." And drove straight up to the thing, walked him right onto the plane, and said, "Boom, boom," and out.
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything to say about this dinner?
Nope.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do y'all dislike Constantine? 10 being the highest.
12.
11. 12,000. He's a worm.
10
He's
for
slimy.
the character, but I like the portrayal of it.
He's slimy. Ugh. And I had to touch a slug this week. And I was less disgusted with that.
It never ceases to amaze me how Araceli can take one thing and another thing and try to combine them together to make another thing make sense.
I'll take a slug over this worm. I made it make sense.
You guys have to understand that there's no issues with promoting a movie about candy. Moving on. Wedding woes. Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Make it make sense.
What?
Just like,
The snail and the worm?
no, that makes sense. At least there's slime involved in both of those.
I don't understand the conversation that Chad and Johnny had.
Yeah,
and
make
what,
it make
and
sense.
what Chad was saying. Maybe it was coming from a place of hurt. Maybe it was coming from a place of like, but it's like the Damaras have a long-standing history of just mess. But to Johnny's point, he's like, I've never been involved in the business. And I'm like, I mean, I'm a Damara by name, but and he's like, look what happened to you. And he was like, yeah, that's because of my grandmother. That had nothing to do with me being a Damara.
Uh-huh.
Johnny's been the devil. I think he's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Chanel will be fine.
It just seemed to come like if it was brought on by the like, was it because Chad thinks that like his family's involved in the drug stuff? Like, was that what brought this concern on all of a sudden out of nowhere that he shouldn't bring Chanel into the family?
I felt like they were trying to make a parallel between him being a single frustrated dad, and then he's a single frustrated dad because his wife was killed. His wife was killed because he was reaching here. It was like his wife was killed because she's a Damara, so therefore don't make the love of your life a Damara wife kind of a thing, which was strange. Even Johnny pointed out, he was like, Clyde was there to kill Aunt Belle, who's not even a Damara. Like she wasn't even the target.
Yeah.
For 2 seconds I thought they tried to make a correlation of, if you have me stand up next to you, I'm just bad luck. Look what happened to me. My wife died. Like, things are just it's just not a good omen for me to be up there with you. And then he started going into all that, and I'm like, well, I'm confused.
That would have made more sense, if you said that. What
because listen, I don't mean to put it like this, but it is Black History Month. Chanel is a Black female. Period. like she's gonna allow any, like she's not somebody that, hello? She ain't that girl.
No.
She gonna be very much like, hello?
Who is it?
That was like the last couple you give that speech to. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I argue that Johnny has a lot of growing up to do in terms of coming into his own, like choosing a career, things like that. But as a partner, I think he's there. He's solid with Chanel. Yeah. Like he knows, and it's not about giving her like big diamond rings or moving her into a mansion. It's that he's a constant support. He knows how to be a partner. And he wants that. He wants what she wants to be happy. He already thinks of Paulina as family. Like, that's how you be a good partner. That's how you build a good marriage. And so I'm like, dude, you don't need any advice on that front. Or please, if you're going to go to someone with for advice, go to someone with more experience. You have a grandmother who is in a decades-long, very successful, very loving marriage. Please seek advice elsewhere.
He just asked that man to be his best man.
Yeah.
Lord,
it was a simple yes or no.
Seriously, EJ would have made more sense. EJ would have made that 1,000 times more sense.
Johnny is not feeling EJ. They have such an up and down, like.
But right now they're good.
Right now
they're good.
Who knows what's going to happen in 2 weeks?
And EJ had even said, I think if he had gone to EJ and asked him, I think EJ would have been happy. EJ would have applauded. And EJ has already stated that he has had a turnaround with Chanel. That he sees that she's a hardworking woman, that she stands on her own 2 feet, and he supports their relationship.
We still looking at the turnaround and taking notes. We'll get back to you at the end of the year.
Okay.
He went to the person he wanted to go to.
And what did that get him?
Well,
Nothing but a headache.
He wasn't expecting that. He was expecting a yes or no so that he can go on and meet up with Paulina and Chanel about wedding plans, which I'm trying to figure out why Chanel is saying yes to all of these. you know, all the stuff that Paulina suggested is ugly because the look on Chanel's face is like.
But then it was weird. Then Paulina played it off like, oh, she was testing Chanel.
She was testing her.
I think she was.
It was just odd. It was just weird.
Okay, so the veil happened, and Chanel was like, "Oh yeah," and then I think Paulina was just like, "Now listen, I know I got cancer, but I didn't fall off the turnip truck." So she said, "What about this bouquet? It's a pastry bouquet."
Yeah,
and even Chanel was like, and that's when I think Paulina was like, "This girl doesn't like anything I'm picking out." But I feel like at least what I'm going to tell myself is the reason why she was doing it was because her mom does have cancer and she just, wants to, just kind of go with the flow instead of, making it harder.
It is amazing that you will compromise too when you care about people that much. I point you to my big fat Greek wedding.
And if I was Chanel, I'd be like, "Mama, I'm making my own cake."
Hey, at least you know it'll taste good.
This is very true. I always feel like something's going to happen, though. When somebody's planning a wedding this quick, I'm like, something's about to go down. Oh, and shame on Paulina for faking like she was having that coughing attack, scaring everybody. And then talking about, just kidding. Ma'am, you can't be kidding right now.
You're not out the woods yet. Yeah.
Right. I'm like, don't be doing that to people. All right. Well, let's move on to what I think is our last tidbit.
No.
Sloanie wants baloney.
Oh, yeah, it is our last tidbit. Sorry.
Yeah.
Y'all, it started out like every hot, romantic, heated moment in soap opera starts out. The second I thought, who is watching this baby?
Yeah.
I was like, well, but then I also thought to myself when she was having the moments of like, just let him cry, it's fine. I was like, ma'am, I know you didn't go through all this and not want to be a mom.
Yeah. I think it's everything's getting to her. It's the little stuff. It's a secret. It's all like affecting her enjoying the process. Yeah.
Well, that's her fault.
Yeah.
No, she did not think this through.
Yeah.
I think they did mention like she thought she could get a nanny, but then Eric doesn't want one. So maybe she thought like, oh, it'll be easy. We can just hire a nanny. But, and then apparently she doesn't make, she's giving all of her money to Leo. Eric's doing his photography and his only client is Leo.
Grandparents
who have offered.
Yes.
But can you imagine dropping the kids off and being like, hey, can you watch Jude for a couple hours? Mommy and daddy need playtime. But I don't know. It's just for a second, I was just like, I get that it's probably all getting to her, but let's not make her into like, ugh, I don't want to be a mom anymore. Because then it's like, what was this all for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was this all for? Where is your scooter?
Keeping Eric, I guess.
If you got to do all that to keep a man, he ain't worth
Yeah.
keeping.
It does not work out. A child is never the solution because that child has a mind of its own and needs of its own.
And everybody needed Sloan and Eric, Jude, Leo, Trask,
Lord have
Marlena.
mercy.
It was just back to back to back. And I was like, y'all can't see that Eric barely has buttoned up his shirt? and Sloan finally had got it together at some point.
I did giggle like the very final scene when Marlena showed up and was like, "I'm here to see my I thought that was, I don't know, it just tickled me a little bit. then Sloan was just like, this bitch now. Yeah.
It's like, here comes perfect Patty. And Leo trips me out too because he's just like, he kind of looks like you, Eric. I don't know. I'm just like, you are just over there causing that woman all kinds of anxiety. Well, we'll see what happens with that. Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been your week of days. We were able to talk about something, and we have been since 2015.
Yeah.
So that was your week of days. We are now going into our favorite part of the show, which are our segments, and we're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. So listen. I think we all have moments when someone is saying something that is supposed to be a secret out loud and how we would respond. But I'm very glad to see for the first time that I know of, it was actually said on the show. Take a look.
I'm blowing Clyde's operation sky high. Remember the operation where he has us laundering money and drugs through the bistro?
Oh, I sure as hell hope you were somewhere private, dumbass.
Yes.
When she said that, I was like, thank you. This is what we always say. Y'all are always talking loud on the phone around the corner from somewhere, doors wide open, in earshot of people. And we always think, well, is anybody else around? So when because she was already on a roll. She already was talking, she had talked to Wendy, and now she had to deal with him. So Tamara Braun, Ava Vitale, for just saying what we often think, you get Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. Oh, snap! And now it's time for
Caption That.
All right, this week's Caption That photo comes courtesy of Marlena and Harris in Marlena's office. And this week's caption goes to another Marlena Mook on Instagram with her caption, Marlena, I'll let John know you're starting a leather jacket enthusiast club, Harris. Harris says, the first club meeting is Friday.
Wait, did you put oh, there it is.
Forgot to click the button, but there it is.
All right. Well, leather jackets, honey. We here for it. And that has been
Caption That.
And now it's time for
Those were the days.
Taking everyone back to February 1st, 2010, when Chandler Massey took over the role of Will Horton. We've had many Wills before that, some of them short-lived, and we've had a Will since then, but I think Chandler will go down as the definitive Will Horton. This is when they ushered him into sort of adult front-burner storylines, and we got the just incredible, still to this day, one of their best storylines, Will coming out. So, unfortunately, I think Chandler's got 3 Emmys, one of which or 2 of which were in our custody for longer than they should have been, but yes. But yeah, February 1st, 2010, when Chandler Massey took over the role of Will Horton.
Those were the days.
sometimes I have to figure out how to, because, and now it's time for those were the days, and I should just say, and those were the days. Okay, now that makes sense, because in my mind I'm like, I never know how to get back to it. Anyway, it's downtime for.
It's a gift.
This week's It's a GIF perfectly sums up my feelings about this week. The end.
Blah 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 da da ooh la la, and that was,
It's a gift.
and now it's time for.
News and gossip.
And it is time for you to get your tickets. If you have not gotten your tickets to our 9th anniversary celebration, we are doing a happy hour celebrating 9 years of Dishin Days. Get your mocktail, cocktail. Come join us for Q&A, games, giveaways, insights, behind the scenes, and maybe some special guests we'll see. Saturday, February 10th, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Tickets are $15 again. Go get them. We still have some spots left, and come have some fun. I think it'll be a fun show.
Yeah.
Yay!
Celebrate with us. It's been 9 years, y'all. So come and TikTok. Come and chit chat with us.
Mm-hmm.
Sit face to face with us. Let's have a good time.
We'll have fun. You can ask us stuff.
Yeah.
Oh.
All the juicy stuff.
Yeah.
Next up, we have an appearance by Days vet, Cassie DePaiva, and her husband, James DePaiva, who were on The Locker Room with Adam Locker to discuss their extensive history in daytime. Of course, they met on the set of One Life to Live. That is where they met and eventually became a couple. So they've had an extensive history from Getting Late to General Hospital to Days. Check out their interview right now in The Locker Room on YouTube.
Yes, and the Days cast is up for some game playing. They are ushering in the brand new season of The Weakest Link on April 2nd, 9 p.m. on NBC. It'll stream on Peacock. Everyone from Martha Madison to Tina Wong to Lindsay Arnold, Victoria Konefeld, Zach Tinker, and those soap opera sleuths wondering if this is a hidden casting. Notice it is not. This was taped, I want to say, almost a year and a half ago. So that was the current cast of Days at the time. So I think people were getting a little bit confused considering the lineup. But it was taped about a year and a half ago. But nonetheless, they will usher in the brand new season of Weakest Link. So check it out again, April 2nd.
April 2nd.
All right, next up, we have two events. These are coming closer, especially the VIP dinner with Freddie Smith. These are Spectrum Celebrity events taking place. This one is taking place in Orlando. It'll be Saturday, February 24th at 5:30 p.m. Again, this is Spectrum Celebrity Events Gold members only for the VIP dinner with Freddie Smith. If you haven't gotten your tickets, please get them now. This event is now this month. We're in the month of February. Following that will be the daytime Pride 24 event in National Harbor, Maryland, with Cameron Grimes and Kate Fairbanks from The Young and the Restless, and Mike Manning and Colton Little from Days of Our Lives, with our very own Tony Moore as host. That will be Saturday, March 23rd. Please get your tickets at spectrumcelebrityevents.com.
And don't forget that. Go ahead. You got it.
Speaking of events, we have our hottest men of Days event. This one taking place in Nashville, Tennessee, the weekend of September 28th to 29th. It's everything from a Q&A, photo ops, dance party, and dinner with the actors, which include Eric Martsolf, Paul Telfer, Carson Bowman, Brandon Beamer, and Rob Wilson. All tickets and information, you can go to eventbrite.ca/Star Image Entertainment.
Yes. And we have some, I'm going to try to keep this PG, folks. We have some upsetting news from the Daytime Emmys, which has cut the younger performer category. That category, which used to be split up into younger actress and younger actor, which was then combined into younger performer, now no longer exists. This has been a category that's been in place since 1985 and has gone through several iterations over the last 40 years. Its previous winners include Julianne Moore, Jonathan Jackson, and the latest winner was Eden McCoy from General Hospital. I could go into a whole tangent on this, but all I will say on this is that now younger actors who are looking to submit their work for Emmy consideration will have to submit in the lead and supporting categories. I'm personally disappointed about this, but what can you do?
Any other thoughts about it? Because this was like this news broke and people
Anger,
were just like
outrage,
talking about it.
It seemed like this seemed to be a problematic category, and so instead of trying to fix it, they're just like, let's get rid of it. You know what I mean? Like, if that was the reason for it, like they just couldn't, like there was too many issues with it, like fix the issues. Like it doesn't have to be like, and I just don't see. Yeah, it didn't make sense to me to just get rid of the category altogether and have these like younger, like possibly 10-year-old actors going up for supporting and lead with like every other actor that's like.
It doesn't make sense for the 20-year-olds as well. They're not going to be given the same consideration for supporting categories with people who have been on the show for a couple of years. It's not going to be the same for them. It's going to be really tough. You had one fix. Just stick with the younger performer category and make the age limit age 25.
25?
That's what it was before.
Oh.
They kept making it worse.
And they kept changing it.
They said that they wanted to be more inclusive to all performers, meaning people who may not identify maybe as a transgender or may not identify as strictly male or female, whatever. So they wanted to say to younger performer. That would also make sense if you have a smaller cast of younger performers with only 4 soaps left on the air. Okay, make a younger performer. Originally, the age limit was age 25 to give due consideration to supporting and lead. Okay, fine. Then they knocked it to age 21. Then they knocked it to age 18, which is why you had Eden McCoy and two young boys who were not even 5 feet tall yet in the same category. Not to knock their work, but it didn't make sense.
I just feel like you guys said, it should be, there's an age limit, but it has to be, you have to figure out like within that year, if you were, whatever age you were, that means if you were 24, you had turned 24, like that's it. Because at 25, you go into the big people category.
Well, that's exactly
26.
That's exactly the position that Eden found herself in. That she was the only person of her contemporaries that was still. It had the age qualification because she was 17. So this was literally her only shot to get into that category.
Right.
It's problematic. It's been problematic for many years. This award was intended to honor young performers. In no way, shape, or form is a 25-year-old that's getting good storyline or storylines competing with a child actor. It's been problematic. It's a way for them to, the past few years, it's been a way for them to acknowledge those younger performers, ages 18 to 25, who don't make it into the lead and supporting. That's not what it should have been. It's always been about the younger performers and honoring them. That's what it should have stayed. And I don't know, I think they caved to pressure or whatever, but it should have stayed that, or they should have redirected it to that instead of just getting rid of it. Now you're having now it made no sense for a 6-year-old to be competing with a 24-year-old. Now you have a 6-year-old competing with everyone in the one space. It makes no sense now. You're not going to get young performers who are nominated and supporting. They don't write storylines for actors like that.
It's not. Yeah, no, it's
not gonna happen.
not the same. It's impossible to even have that in a landscape where we only have 4 daytime soaps left. But you still need to honor the work, especially the work of. I mean, we've had Oscar winners win this category, so it makes no sense.
Well, I'm gonna also ask what everyone else thinks about the this category being deleted. So make sure you pay attention to our Instagram for more surveys and polls. And I think we have one more.
Speaking of performers, yes, we are going to performer that we know and love, Miss Jackie Cox, aka Darius Rose, is starring in a new one-man play called "Make Me Gorgeous." It's a true story of Kenneth, Mr. Madame Marlowe. It is started February 1st. It's running through to the 25th in New York City. All tickets and information, you can go to gorgeousplay.com.
Yay!
Perfect. And that was
News and gossip.
And now it's time to take a sneak peek as to what's coming up this week on Peacock's Days of Our Lives. Take a look.
Oh, that happened.
Yeah. No one can ever know the truth.
There was a very big raid this morning at a warehouse. Oh, that's gotta hurt, huh, Clyde? You're going to end up behind bars. Once Clyde finds out about this, all hell is gonna break loose. In Greece, you came to deliver a message of death. John? Who's John? Put the gun to your head and pull the trigger.
I don't know how to respond to any of this.
Here's the thing about the pawn storyline, because I had to look it up. This is a moment of time that John doesn't remember, but I do think Steve remembers. And I think that was a conversation that they had about that. I think this is, I know Michael Mattis, you're going to hate this. They're going to revisit that to fill in those holes. But I find it interesting because, I mean, this is a character where, like, there's a lot of holes to fill. So if they do it right, it could be maybe an interesting discovery.
Yeah.
But this also just makes Constantine so much more annoying.
He's not going anywhere.
And listen, Xander, if you go through whatever that phone call was, I am done with you.
He's not.
Done. And I'm going to make sure Sarah's done with you too. I'll do it. I don't know. I feel like that's what people do when they're done. Speaking of being done, we're done. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another week of Days of Our Lives here at Dishin Days. Next Sunday, we will be celebrating our 9th anniversary. That's right, 9 years of dishing out storylines and baby switches and murders and kidnappings and fake deaths. So make sure you tune in next week to our anniversary show, because you never know who's going to be with us or who's going to pop in. So that's going to be next Sunday, the 9th anniversary show brought to you by the folks here at Dishin Days. And don't forget, on Saturday, join us for a little mocktail cocktail hour. Come talk to us, have a Q&A, chit chat with us, find out what happens before we press this go live button. Until then, Michael Mattis, where can the folks find you?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at MLMattis.
Justin Lee Hareld.
Find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Araceli Aviles.
Find me on Instagram and Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
And you can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony. And don't forget to find us on Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you. We will be back next week to give you a full dish of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Have a wonderful week. If you're in South Carolina, if you're in California, stay dry because the rain is coming.
Oh, no, it's here.
It's like, I think, yep.
It's here.
Yeah, it's here. So be safe, everyone. Take care of yourself and each other. Till next week, everyone. Bye.
Jerry Springer.